Welcome to the Create a Profitable Online Store course. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some of the different e-commerce business models in depth so you can get an idea of which business model that you're going to end up pursuing for your online store. Now remember, the goal of this class is not to start the next Amazon or the next Facebook. The goal is to help you start your own e-commerce business in order to improve your lifestyle. Okay, and so in the class, I'm going to be referring to three main business models periodically, and so I thought I'd just go over those business models so you can kind of understand what they are and what the pros and cons are for each one, because the implications of your niche research will kind of depend on which business model you're going to pursue. So the three business models are: one, you can sell other people's products through dropshipping. You can sell other people's products by carrying inventory like a traditional store, or you can sell products under your own brand. Okay, and so I'm going to go into a little bit more depth about each one of these categories so you can get an idea what the pros and cons are for each. So the first business model is called dropshipping. Now, dropshipping is when you take orders on your own site, but then someone else actually goes ahead and fulfills your order. So some of the advantages are you don't have to carry any inventory, but you still have to handle customer support, and the products are shipped from the vendor as if they came from your own shop. Okay, and so what are some of the pros and cons of dropshipping? One of the main pros, as I just mentioned, was you don't have to carry any inventory at all. And as a result of this, you can pretty much run your store from anywhere. All you got to do is you just have to man your website, take orders, and someone else will keep track of inventory and then fulfill your orders for you. And as a result, this business kind of scales well with traffic. The more traffic you get, you don't have to invest any more money on infrastructure because the vendor is doing all of the fulfillment work. Now, of course, the negative side of dropshipping is that your margins are significantly lower. So typical margins for a dropship shop are on the order of 10 to 30%. And oftentimes there are additional dropship fees involved on a per order basis. Now, the other disadvantage is since you are not the one fulfilling the product, you really have no control over the customer service. So let's say a customer calls you up asking where the heck their order is. Because you aren't the one shipping it, you actually have to go and contact your vendor to get an idea of where the package is in transit. Or if there's any mix-up or anything, you kind of have to be the go-between between the customer and the vendor, and that can get a little bit hairy at times. And the other disadvantage is, since you're selling someone else's product, there's going to be less brand recognition for your online store because they aren't your own branded products. Now, some of the other implications of choosing dropshipping is that because the margins are so low, you will likely not be able to afford to advertise using pay-per-click advertising because the cost of advertising will pretty much eat up all of your margin. And as a result, when you run a dropship store, you're going to be relying very heavily on search engine optimization. And as a result of this, choosing the right keywords to target and your overall content marketing strategy is going to be extremely important. And the other disadvantage of selling other people's products, of course, is that there's going to be other vendors selling the exact same products, and people will tend to comparison shop based on price. Now, as a result of this, you're going to have to win customers over based on the quality of your content, the quality of your website, and your ability to kind of gather a following for your shop, to kind of establish the brand for your shop as a destination for where someone might want to purchase these products. And just as an example, there's this running store that I go to. They sell all of their shoes at full price. There's never a discount. And they just sell the same brands that you can get at Foot Locker and whatnot, but I always get my shoes there because of their customer service. They always take the time to measure my feet. They kind of analyze how I run, and then they make recommendations that way. And so this is kind of the same thing you're going to have to do with your store if you're selling other people's products. You're going to have to become the go-to destination because of your content, because of your personality, because of your policies, because of some sort of unique value proposition that makes your store stand out among the rest. Okay? Now, is dropshipping for you? A realistic starting investment is on the order of $100. And dropshipping is actually a pretty good way to kind of dip your toes in the water of e-commerce if this is your first time selling stuff online. Very low startup costs. If you really wanted to cut corners and pinch pennies, you can literally start for as low as $5 a month. And dropshipping is also a great way to instantly launch a very well-stocked store. Because you're not carrying inventory, you can instantly stock 100 or 1,000 items from your vendors instantly by just listing them on your product, since you're not responsible for carrying all that stuff physically. And a lot of times, what a lot of the students have been doing is they start out drop shipping, and then they start carrying inventory for their best sellers. And so by doing that, carrying dropship products kind of fills out your store. And meanwhile, your bread and butter money makers are those that you actually carry inventory for and make a higher margin on. Now, one thing I do have to caution you is that if you choose dropshipping, there's going to be a much slower ramp up to significant profits, because it takes some time for the search engines to actually kind of recognize your store and rank it. And as a result, you're going to have to be relying on SEO and your own marketing efforts and your own legwork to create orders early on. And oftentimes this can take a significant amount of time. And as a result, a lot of people, when they launch their stores, they're really excited and they want to see orders come in right away. But when you do drop shipping, things take time because you can't pay for advertising, you can't pay for traffic. And so you kind of have to be a little bit more mentally tough and kind of think in the longer term. Okay, and so if you're the type of person who likes instant gratification, perhaps dropshipping may not be the right model for you. Now, the other model, of course, is to sell other people's products and carry your own inventory. And this is kind of what I refer to as the traditional online store route. You contact distributors, you purchase product at wholesale prices, and then you sell them in your shop. And you either have to carry inventory in your own warehouse, or you can actually use a third-party fulfillment house to fulfill your orders for you at an additional cost. Now, the pros of carrying inventory, of course, are that the margins are much higher. Typically, at least in the US, margins are going to be on the order of 50%. And at this margin level, paying for traffic or advertising becomes viable because you have higher margins, and as a result, you're going to get a faster ramp up to profits. You don't have to wait for the SEO engine to kick in. You can start just generating some instant traffic to your site. And because you're doing your own shipping and fulfillment, you actually have full control over your customer support. Now, of course, the cons of this is you must carry inventory or you must use some sort of third-party fulfillment service. And the other disadvantages, of course, is you have to actually have some money up front to purchase your initial inventory. Now, at least in the United States, the minimum orders for wholesalers is fairly low, and oftentimes, in my experience, it's on the order of $100 for a minimum order. So it's actually not that much money, and because everything is going to be local, the lead times are actually much faster. But of course, on the flip side also, you still have this disadvantage that you are actually selling other people's products. And as a result, there's going to be other vendors selling the same product, and people will tend to shop around and price match. Now, is carrying inventory the right route for you? And a realistic starting investment is also on the order of $100 for the website. And you also have to pay for initial inventory. And of course, that's going to depend on the products you want to stock in your store. And I just thought I'd mention that drop shipping and selling with inventory are not mutually exclusive paths. And oftentimes, as I mentioned before, a logical path is to start out drop shipping and figure out what sells. And in the beginning, you can just pay for advertising, sell at a loss, or purchase a very small amount of initial inventory and just find out what sells, and then end up stocking the best sellers in your store. And then go ahead and use drop ship vendors to kind of fill out your store to make it look full. Okay, and once again, I mentioned before, there's going to be lots of shops carrying the same products when you sell other people's products. And that's just one of the disadvantages of selling other people's products that you can't avoid. Now, the last business model is actually the one I recommend, is selling your own branded products. Now, you can have your own products manufactured either locally in your own country or overseas. And the advantage of doing this is you get to put your own brand name on it. And as a result, you're selling it as your own product, and as a result, the margins are going to be much higher. Greater than 66%, sometimes as high as 90 or mid-90s. And one thing that students are afraid of often is this whole manufacturing your own product aspect of selling your own branded products. And I just wanted to emphasize here that it's actually not that intimidating. You can actually have existing items made for you and then just slap your own label on it and then sell it as your own. And this practice is actually known as white labeling. Now, you can also, get in touch with manufacturers, make slight modifications to existing products, and then once again put your own branded label on it and make it your own. Okay, and so because you don't necessarily have to design your own product from scratch, it's actually really not that intimidating to have your own branded products through white labeling. Okay, and so the pros, of course, of selling your own branded products is that the margins are going to be extremely high. Advertising becomes viable. There's a much faster ramp up to profits because you're selling at such a high profit margin. You have full control over customer support. And one of the key advantages of selling your own branded products is that you have the ability to take advantage of marketplaces like Amazon and eBay for pretty much instant sales right off the bat using established marketplaces. And the advantage here, of course, is that you have your own brand name and no one can sell your items because they are branded under your own name. Now, some of the cons, of course, is that you must carry inventory or use a third-party fulfillment service. When you create your own products, you tend to have to make a whole bunch all at once, so it'll require some more money up front to purchase inventory. And to get the lowest prices, you may have to buy from overseas, which means longer lead times and some more logistical issues when you're actually importing stuff from overseas. Now, is selling your own products for you? A realistic starting investment is about $100 for the website, plus the initial inventory, which is probably going to be on the order of thousands of dollars. Now, this is actually the model I recommend that all students try to take for the best chance of long-term success and faster earnings. And one of the advantages of doing this is you are going to establish your own brand. No one can price match you because it's your own private label. And one of the mental aspects of selling your own brand is that you can make instant money by selling on Amazon and eBay while building up your own branded shop in the background. Now, psychologically, it's really nice to start making instant money on Amazon and eBay using established marketplaces because you're generating some revenue, which will kind of mentally incline you to invest more money in your own branded shop kind of in the background. And one of the advantages of having really high profit margins is that you got a lot more leeway with your products and sales. So just to give you an example of that, we sell our own branded products in our shop, and whenever a customer complains about something, that they don't like something, we actually just let them keep it. Because our product margins are so high, we can take the hit. We can let them keep the product, which instantly makes them happy, and it's not really that big of a deal for our store. So as you are doing the niche research for your shop, I want you to kind of keep these three business models in the back of your mind because they do have implications. Because in the event that you choose dropshipping, the SEO portion of the niche research becomes extremely important because that's going to be the main way that you actually get customers in the door. By choosing dropshipping, it also kind of limits the number of vendors that you can use because the number of vendors that actually support dropshipping are going to be far less than those that are willing to sell you their product at wholesale prices. Now, I also want to emphasize that the three different e-commerce business models are not mutually exclusive. Just because you dropship doesn't mean that you can't carry inventory or you can't make your own branded products. You can actually do all three if you want to. And just keep in mind that the highest ramp up to profitability and your greatest chance for making significant money is with selling your own branded products. And just keep that in mind. I want to encourage all of you out there to actually try the process because I sincerely believe that just from a psychological standpoint, you're going to be able to use the Amazon platform and generate instant sales. And that money that you generate from instant sales will kind of keep you going as you develop your branded site. And then in the long run, your branded site will become your main money maker. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to email me at any time. And don't worry because I go over all this product sourcing. I'll show you how to use Alibaba and create your own branded products from scratch. And I'll hold your hand throughout the entire process.